Welcome to the Geek Cabal channel. I'm Bob,
I'm Jim.
and you're about to watch a clip from one of our longer podcast videos since they've been running about an hour and a half, 2 hours. We splice clips out. If you like the whole thing, it'll be linked to in the description. Hopefully, you'll watch it too. It's up to you, though. And since this is YouTube, you know how it goes. If you like what you like here, like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. But otherwise, hope you enjoy the clip.
I'm just hoping that,
I'm hoping we learn the plot in the next two episodes.
and
That'd be great.
and I'm hopeful. I am hopeful that Thrawn isn't just immediately eliminated by the end of this season.
That would be a one-way ticket to I'm not going to watch season 2.
Because Moff Gideon wasn't, and I think they stopped Moff Gideon in a way that made sense. But you realize, yeah, there's more to tell here. He has the dark saber, and what the hell? How the hell did he get that?
Yeah. Plus, Giancarlo Esposito is an excellent actor. For those of you who have not seen Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul, his character there is like top notch. Yes, the Chicken Man.
And I think he
is also a methamphetamine dealer.
And I think in season 2 he was really good. There's one moment in season 3 though that I'm just like, this doesn't make any sense unless he is a clone and he's just not as intelligent as his real self. And that's
the final fight.
Not only that, but the fact that he's like, well, I'll wait here for him, letting him go through the Hall of Clones.
Yeah. Well, can't win them all.
You destroyed my clones. Well, duh, idiot. You let me come right through the Hall of Clones. Why is that in the hall?
Yeah, why isn't that in like another different secure location?
It's like, oh yeah, by the way, welcome to my base. On the way to the control room, here's my Hall of Clones of me. That's just about as like, why didn't they put rails in the Death Star?
Oh, the rails in the Death Star. It always comes back to that.
It's so stupid.
And I do wonder, since you brought that up, I have to comment here. I do wonder, do you think that influenced all of the other Star Wars movies where there's just like obvious safety flaws everywhere? And they're just like, well, I mean, they didn't have it in the Death Star. Like, it's a meme now, kind of, in like the early days of the internet. Like, I'm thinking like the Phantom Menace.
Yeah, I mean,
like the big it's either a reactor, it's a plasma thing. I don't remember what, but there's no guardrails in any of that. You're just walking along. There's a fucking infinite abyss that I think goes to the core of the planet, if I remember right.
Yeah, so all you have to do is just one stumble and
you're done.
I mean.
And I just wonder, like, do you think it was because of the Death Star thing and people always commenting on it that George Lucas is like, we're going to give these people what they want. The Star Wars universe is just exceptionally dangerous and has nothing resembling OSHA.
I mean, normally it's like, yeah, you're going to have a rail so you can look over the edge, and if you need to look down and say, oh, there's a problem with the plasma conduit down there. Oh!
Yeah, Joe's stuck in it.
And Darth Maul, I guess, too.
Yeah.
No, it's so ridiculous. You're gonna have to clip this, by the way. I think this is gonna be the best segment.
Oh, right, yes, definitely. But the Cloud City had guardrails, right?
Yeah.
And then the thing in the void where they had their big final battle there, Luke and Vader, that had guardrails until Luke climbed out onto the stupid thing.
Well, the one thing that doesn't make sense about Cloud City is hovering above a gas giant.
Right.
There should be no breathable atmosphere at all.
Oh yeah, when Luke falls out.
Yeah, or the people are just outside.
Oh, that's right. There are parts that are just open, aren't there? Yeah. Well,
don't run. I'm assuming we'll use the logic that there's some sort of force field holding an atmosphere around it.
There, let's go with that. Because what I can't explain, because I finally watched the clip from the end of Rebels when the space whales take the Chimera, they shattered the windows on the bridge. Like, Thrawn and Ezra are on the bridge when they go into hyperspace. Like, shouldn't they be, like, hyper dead? Because I'm assuming there's no air in hyperspace.
No, probably not.
And even if there is, there's definitely not any air once they get to the other end into real space. Yeah. Like, Thrawn is being held there by the Purgles, and, like, Ezra's, like, force holding Thrawn in place and not letting the stormtroopers come through the door. Like, they should both be dead.
Whatever.
I'm not complaining. I didn't want Thrawn to go out like that, so okay, I'll overlook it. But like, they should both be dead.
Yeah.
But then again, they told Porkins to bail out there at the to eject right on top of the Death Star. So what do I know?
Maybe they were hoping his mass would knock the Death Star off.
He'd drop down the torpedo shaft and it'd be enough.
He would clog the exhaust port and the Death Star would overheat.
Backfire when it tries to destroy Yavin.
Oh no! But no, there's lots of things with the problem with Bespin, because if you know anything about Jupiter, first of all, the radiation is intense. Like, that would be an issue. The gravity pull would be intense.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's in the same universe that, at least I think in theory, the Maul installation still exists, and that's literally a thing in the center of a cluster of black holes that you basically need the Force to navigate through.
Is that where the one character in the black hole is just sitting?
Oh, Reinhardt,
yes.
I think was his name, inside of Maximilian in like robot hell. Yeah, probably. It's the burning wreckage of what was left of the proto Death Star. Yeah, destroyed by the Sun Crusher. Like, everyone talks about, the Death Star this, Death Star that. The Sun Crusher is the thing you want. That thing's fucking indestructible.
Yeah, that's why I think it's the worst weapon ever.
Well, that's why the first book it's in, or maybe, I think it's just in the one book. Their initial plan is, let's chuck it into the gas giant that Yavin's orbiting, because like, well, no one could get to it. And they're like, okay. They forgot, like, there's people that can move things with their mind. So I don't remember which one of the kids it is that's there training uses the Force to pull it back out, and then they go into the Maul installation, and the torpedoes don't work very well against the Death Star because they create like a chain reaction, but it doesn't have enough mass to go critical at any point because it's just like girders, So it'll hit one, it'll vaporize a small section, but it's not enough to get it to really go. And so I think it's just destroyed by like conventional means. But then at the end, I think it's Luke uses the Force and chucks it into one of the black holes, and basically like, good luck. I'm pretty sure that did actually like smash it down to nothing. So,
but yeah, it is at least in the EU, in any, actually probably any format, I think it's probably the worst weapon ever created. It's a MacGuffin. I mean, and then we're talking about stuff that there is this, I can't think of what it's called. So there's a space gun where they can launch a missile from like.
I have that's from the Dark Empire series, and I haven't read that one yet. But yeah, it's the Galaxy gun.
That's it, and you can
fires a bullet that destroys a planet or something.
Yeah, and stuff like that. I mean, at least that has some. It does have a weakness. I mean, you can blow it up, just a gun, and not probably very easy to aim.
Wouldn't think so.
No, it's just out of any of the weapons, I don't know, the Sun Crusher. I do have it in a Micro Machine format though.
I think I have one. So. That's what we can talk about one of these episodes. We can show off the Star Wars and Star Trek Micro Machines sometime.
Yeah, because those came in a set of, they look like books.
Yeah,
and they had the ships.
Yeah, and that one's the Jedi Academy, I think is what that one's in.
Yeah, and unfortunately, they did try to bring back the Micro Machine sets, but they are far cheaper and crappier looking than what Galoob had brought out.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've seen the cars, like regular Micro Machines, and I sent you the picture of Optimus Prime, right? Is a Micro Machine, but it's of Optimus Prime. So like, I think like the back is big enough, the trailer, to put like a bunch of Micro Machine cars in. It's like a city or something, while also kind of vaguely looking like what the inside of Optimus Prime's trailer looked like from like the '80s toy. So it was kind of interesting.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's unfortunate that was just one thing growing up. I always loved getting the Micro Machine sets, and yeah, to your point, I've got both a collection of Star Wars and the Star Trek ones.
Yeah, I have an obscene number of some of the Imperial things. I think I have 2 Super Star Destroyers, and something like 9 or 10 Star Destroyers.
Yeah, I've only got like
bunch of TIE Fighters.
I've only got like 2 or 3.
I have 2 Deep Space Nine stations.
Well, the TIE Fighters were like All it took was you leave it on the ground one time and someone steps on it, and
Yeah. I'm not saying that if you were to look at them right now, they all look right. Like
my
one of the Super Star Destroyers, like the end of it, like kind of curls
yeah
up. My Deep Space Nine station, one of them, a couple of the pylons have just been like smashed to nothing.
yeah I
There's a couple Star Destroyers that are kind of crooked. And
most of my Tie Fighters have been glued because the wings had broken off on them. Uh, and then like the only one that like I had an absurd amount of anything of was Jabba's sail barge.
yeah,
I think it was because it
because
was featured in multiple sets. And
well, there are multiple sets, and the sets were grouped in like weird configurations. They're like, this is for A New Hope, so it's got like I think it's the Millennium Falcon, a Star Destroyer, and like an X-wing maybe, or Vader's Tie Fighter. And it's like, well, I want more than one Star Destroyer, but I don't need multiples of these other things over here. Uh, which is fine because my Rebel fleet is like a bunch of Corellian corvettes and a couple of Nebula B frigates and like Home One.
yeah, well, and at least they did also have the other M80 that they also had for the Mon Calamari ships.
Yeah, there's two of them, aren't there?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
the home one, and then and I had multiples of. I think I had maybe one home one, and I think I had two of the others, maybe three. But yeah, no, the Corvettes I had as many as I could get.
Yeah, well, I mean, and the Star Trek ones are in weird configurations too. Like I think there's like one set was I want to say the Enterprise D, a Ferengi ship, and the Borg cube.
Yeah,
It's like, well, I need more than one Borg cube. I guess the Ferengi are going to have quite the fleet here. And well, the Enterprise D, like, there's always the what was it, the Yamato?
yeah.
That's the same class, so sure, why not?
Well, and then in the Dominion War, there was multiple Galaxy classes that were.
You know,
I wonder if they got took the families off before they.
I would hope so. Well, folks, we're going to fight the Dominion today. If you live through it, you're going to be able to tell your grandkids about it, especially since they're also on board the ship.
And by the way, Picard Day is canceled.
Yes, Picard Day is canceled by order of Picard.
But school's not, so.
Yeah. Yeah, you might get an up close lesson about physics here real quick, but yeah, they made it into it. The Jem'Hadar fighters had a micro machine, but not the larger cruisers.
No, I was surprised though that the Voyager actually had the movable
Movable nacelles, yeah.
So
Yeah, I still have that one, and it's still like in one piece. That's like the one valuable one that I have, and I think that's why because the pieces can fall off. But one, I think it's the movie version of the Enterprise D. The saucer section can come off from assuming Generations. Because that would have been the last one. I think the E got a micro machine, but it was like at the very end, and I think it was in like a bigger box set. 'Cause that was the other thing they did. They're like, oh, buy this box set that's got like 22 micro machines that you've probably already got if you want the Super Star Destroyer. You know. Then you had to find one that wasn't like chrome. Remember those? Because they also had the sets that were like the chromed out. And then you had the ground vehicles that weren't like nothing was even close to in scale with each other. The AT-ST I think was a little bit taller than the AT-AT, and it's like you've got this all wrong, guys. Like,
yeah, which they tried to remedy that I think with like the Action Fleet line, which was the little bit larger.
Yeah, well, there's kind of like an updated version of those now. I've got a couple of the TIE fighters. And I only committed to buying the second one now that I've seen they are going to make the Interceptor and the Bomber.
That had Darth Vader's TIE fighter with Darth Vader that you could put into it.
Yeah, these come with the little guys that, yeah, and they just came out with the AT-AT for that. And like the TIE fighters like this, and the AT-AT is about like this. Like these are a lot closer in scale with each other.
Unlike the Lego UCS set, which I think is as close to in scale as you can possibly get, where you can actually fit 40 stormtroopers.
It's actually probably not, because the Millennium Falcon is in scale. There's one. It's like an $800 set, and it is like notably larger than this table. Like I've seen one at a convention. It's huge.
Well, I said closer to in scale.
Yeah, it's a lot closer than the set you'd find on the store, like the $160 one. Because I think it's like an $800 AT-AT. It's close. I think it actually has the right size cockpit.
Well, and the fact, yeah, because you could fit the 3 people in it, but the fact that they made the battle pack kind of thing for all the
Yeah,
snowtroopers, and I mean, it was something like, I don't remember how you had to buy, like you had to buy 10 or something to
probably.
get enough stormtroopers to fill the thing out, and you also were able to fill out the speeder bike.
Yeah,
Because
they
it had like 1 or 2 speeder bikes, but I think it could fit a couple more.
yeah, Lego was actually really smart right at that particular moment in time because they also released the Hoth ATST, the Rebel pack that had kind of like a little, you put a bunch of them together and you basically have the trench there for the Hoth base. I think the only thing missing was the snow speeder,
Well,
which is surprising because I think they've released like 10 snow speeders.
one possibly, I believe what I've seen is one of the worst UCS sets ever made was the Hoth base.
Yes. Yes, if it's the one I'm thinking of, it's not good.
Yeah, it's one of those, it's like for a regular Lego set, maybe,
Yeah,
but when
yeah,
you
it was pretty sketchy. And I remember at the time online, everyone was like, "Are you for real here, Lego? Like, are you pulling our leg here? Like, no, we don't want this."